The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, thanks for attending. This is Kevin, and I just want to do a quick mic check. If you can hear me, just type a Y in the chat box or the question box just to know that I'm coming through loud and clear. Perfect. All right. So I'll just wait about 30 more seconds or so, and then we'll get started because there's still some late arrivals coming in. All right. Well, thanks. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to 4 Secrets of Successful Traders, and thanks for joining me in the next hour and 15 minutes or so. We're going to talk about a lot of cool things, so let's get ready and let's jump into it. So today, I'm going to teach you 4 different secrets that have all come from people who have worked with me in the past and have kind of distilled some of what they've learned into 4 secrets that I think can really dramatically improve your trading. If you take these things, they can really give a jump start to what you're doing. Because my goal here, and the goal with this webinar today, is to get you on the path to developing profitable trading strategies. I mean, that's what we all want, right? So these secrets will definitely help with that. And if you stay until the very end, I have a book that I just released, which is great, especially if you're new to Algo, Algorithmic Trading. I'm going to be giving away 2 autographed copies. No matter where you are in the world, I'll mail them out to you. And you can always go on Amazon if you don't win and check it out. It's very inexpensively priced. And if you are a member of Kindle Unlimited, it's actually completely free. So you can go and read it. But the first thing, you know, you might have signed up, and probably quite a few of you have never heard any of my webinars, but you've attended other trading webinars, right? And you probably wonder, well, what's going to make this different than any of the other ones that I've attended before? Well, here's a little secret. Most trading webinars are done by people who don't even trade. It's amazing, and it's very hard to tell sometimes. Sometimes it's easy, but a lot of the people giving trading advice out there don't even trade. Here's a great example. There's this person, and I've covered up her eyes and her name so you don't know who it is. Has been posting a lot of videos lately on LinkedIn about how great futures are to trade and how much profit, just stuff that's really kind of reckless the way she's describing it. But anyways, I watched one of the videos, and about halfway through one of the videos, it talked about the ES, the mini S&P, and she said, well, it's only since it's $6.25 a tick. And I was like, what? And I asked her about it, and then you can see, and she actually confirmed in writing. She says, yeah, the tick value for ES used to be 1250, but now it's 625. Well, yeah, so much for her being a real trading guru, right? I mean, she's wrong, and uh, she didn't even realize it. She doesn't even know the tick size of one of the primary instruments in futures. Um, so you got to ask, do you think she actually trades? I don't know. Does somebody who doesn't know the tick size of one of the instruments she claims to make so much money with and doesn't even know the tick size of it, could she actually be trading? No. Those are the kind of people that are out there a lot of times giving advice. I'm a lot different. I actually trade, and I've traded for a long time. I trade full time now. I've done that for about 10 years, and I've been trading for 25 years altogether. And 3 years in a row, I finished first or second place in a worldwide trading contest with real money. So my record's out there. It's a lot different than a lot of these people who, quote unquote, gurus that are out there. And my first book is still a bestseller, Building Winning Algorithmic Trading Systems. It teaches you how to put rules in place to actually build trading strategies. And that's why this webinar is going to be different. Because I'm not one of those fake people that doesn't even know the tick size of a market. Unbelievable. And if you're looking for an independent review of some of my stuff, go to tradingschools.org and search for my name. And there's a quote there. I won't read it. It's kind of funny. But at the end, he calls me a little rat because I've been able to successfully trade and, steal cheese from other traders. So it's kind of funny. So I've gotten to the point where I've done a lot of things correctly with my own trading. But, it wasn't always that way. Early on, I had a lot of things wrong. Probably for the first 10 or 15 years, this is what I was kind of doing. I was assuming an optimized strategy would also be a profitable strategy. How many of us have done that? And then I'd have this kind of thing where I'd test and get the results in white. And then as soon as it went live, it was in the blue, and it just went downhill from there. I don't know how many of those systems I had. But it made me realize there's no holy grail with trading. A lot of people think there's this magic indicator or one magic system or something that's just going to let them live a life of luxury, and that just doesn't happen. Trading's hard, but it's possible to be successful at it. But even if you have a good system, you can be scared and not trade it. I've seen people with what I would consider good systems, and they just can't pull the trigger. So fear can kill you. And so we're going to talk a lot about those things kind of as I go through stuff today. But I discovered all this the hard way by losing money. I put things I thought were true into the market, and for a while I'd just lose money no matter what I did. You're going to get an opportunity to kind of do it an easier way. A lot easier than just throwing money at the market. Because this is the hard way, when you feel like you're on a hamster wheel, just going round and round. You create a strategy incorrectly. That's the first bad step, and that's what most people do, and that's what I used to do. You'd do things like you'd optimize it, you'd curve fit, you'd get that back test looking just great, and you'd be so proud of yourself because the back test looks so great. But then you'd go live with it, like I showed you in that chart a minute ago, and you'd lose money, and then you'd have to start all over again with a new strategy. And you're just on this wheel where you just kept running and you're not getting anywhere. And that really describes what I used to do, and probably describes what a lot of you do, because that's kind of how trading is. But it doesn't have to be that way. But you got to kind of think how it could be different. And that's what I'm going to talk about somewhat today. It's about a different way to create strategies where you could have 5, 10, 20, as many as you want, and you could trade them pretty fearlessly because you're not going to be as worried about over optimizing and curve fitting. And I've done it myself. In the past years now, I've created so many strategies, and I have 80 right now that I trade. Some of them I turn off and on because of correlation with other strategies, which is something we'll talk about. But I do things what I would consider the right way, and that puts me in good position to have success in the market. It doesn't mean I'm always going to have success. I still go through drawdowns, so don't think you're going to get away from that no matter what you do. But you can get away from the continuous losing. Okay, so before I talk about some things, I just want to put up this disclaimer. It's a U.S. government required disclaimer. Take some time to read it. Don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. Treat all the results you see as hypothetical, no matter where you see them. So that guru earlier who was telling you how she could make all this money with ES of $6.25 a tick, remember, that's all hypothetical, so it isn't necessarily real. All right. So let me talk for a little bit about the 4 secrets from successful traders. So I've taught this class. It's called the Strategy Factory. It's a trademark approach for developing trading strategies. Hundreds of people have taken my workshop. So I've gotten a long period of time to see what works, what doesn't work, what kind of people succeed, and I've been able to see all that. And a lot of that I use in my day-to-day kind of talking to prospective people when they say, hey, do you think this class is for me? And here's my history. And a lot of times I end up saying, no, I don't think this class is for you. And, they get a little disappointed a lot of times, but, I'd rather be honest and tell them if I think they can succeed or not. So, if you're one of those people, just send me your trading history and I'll tell you what I think, or I'll tell you what I think you should do. But for the last 4 years, I've actually taught this same approach. And so I've kind of taken what they've learned and I've boiled it down, and there's really 4 secrets. There's actually more than 4, but I'm going to keep it to 4 just to kind of keep you guys focused. Maybe I'll do one on more of their secrets in a couple months or something, but today I'm going to share just 4 of their secrets. And when you break them down real simply, there's time, patience, spread, and process. So just think of that acronym TPSP, time, patience, spread, process. Now, what do those mean? All right, well, let's jump into it. Secret number 1, if you really want to succeed in trading, you gotta put in the time. For those of you in the US, and maybe this was sold in Europe and elsewhere, there used to be a little oven that you could plug in where you could just throw a whole chicken in and hit a couple buttons and walk away, and in 2 hours you'd come back to a fully cooked chicken. And its motto was set it and forget it. And so there's a picture of it there. That's not trading. And a lot of people think it is. And it drives me crazy when I see people, hey, I'm looking for a system that only takes me 5 minutes a day to work. And then, I can go and live the rest of my life and, preferably laying out on the beach and stuff. Or, where I can just check my phone once a day and log into my account and, enter a trade or two. That's not how it works. Think about it. You are trading against a whole bunch of other people, and a lot of them are professionals. They're either full-time retail traders like I am, or they're hedge fund people, they're commercial people, like the grain houses and farmers who get together and they sell grain and they offset things with futures. That's who you're up against. So you got to put in the time to compete against these people because they're all competing for the same amount of dollars. So a while back, a few months ago, I sent out a survey to all the people who've taken this class, and I said, how many hours do you spend per week developing new strategies? So this is a great question for somebody who's really serious about developing strategies, right? Because these people have done it. You know, they've been through it for a couple years, and so I thought, hey, they're going to give a good answer to how many hours per week. And here's what they said. I broke it up, more than 5 hours or less than 5 hours, and almost 2/3 of the people spend more than 5 hours a week. Okay. And the rest are less than 5 hours. But a third of them spend more than 10 hours a week, and 20%, 1 out of 5 people, spend more than 20 hours per week. Now, I don't have a correlation, and just because I don't have the data of, hey, the more time you spend, the more successful you're going to be. But you can probably guess that, right? Because think of anything else in your life where you've had to work at something to be good. If you spend an hour here or there, do you think you're going to be pretty good at it? Probably not. And I suspect the people who are spending 20 hours per week, there's not a ton of them. There's only 20% of the people. I tend to think those are the ones who are the most successful at trading. So this gives you an idea. If you want to succeed, most of the people are putting in a good amount of time. Doesn't mean it's another full-time job, although it certainly could be. But it means you're more than spending, a Sunday night for 2 hours working on some strategies and then hoping that works for the rest of the week. It's not going to work. You got to put the time in. And obviously that's going to lead to more strategies. So half of the people who've taken my course have more than 10 strategies, or at least the ones who answered the survey, have more than 10 strategies, and almost all of them, 80%, that's a big number, have at least 2 strategies that they've created using the process I teach. So there's people out there creating strategies, and they're lining up a whole bunch of strategies. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And the overnight part is exactly why secret number 2 exists, which is you must be patient. You've got to be patient with this whole trading game. You can't expect overnight riches. You can't expect to develop a strategy today that you can start rolling out tomorrow. It takes time, and you got to be patient. And that's secret number 2. And, you might say, yeah, some secret, you got to be patient. You'd be surprised how many people are not patient. We live in an instant world, right? Where everything, you want an answer to anything, just pull out your phone and Google it, and you can get answers. You don't have to wait for anything practically anymore. It's instant gratification. You want to watch a TV show from 10 years ago, you can probably watch it. You don't have to wait for a rerun to come on the TV station. So patience is a lost virtue, but it's huge for trading. Because when you don't have patience, this is kind of what happens. You develop a strategy like the chart on the left, looks great, and then you go live right about there, and it just goes downhill, and you're tearing your hair out over it. I teach a specific technique. It's called incubation, which really just means patience. And it tells you when to trade a strategy after you create it. or if to trade a strategy. With this one, it would tell you don't ever trade that, but you don't know it unless you use this incubation process, this patience step. And that's huge. And you end up with strategies like this. This would be a typical walk forward test that I develop. And obviously what you want, let's say that your development ended right here, you don't want the strategy just to go south, right? You do not want something like that, right? Obviously you want it to go like that, but that's not going to happen. But you'd probably be satisfied for something right in the middle, right? So that's kind of why you do it, because right when you're done developing, you don't know which direction this strategy is going to go. So I'm sorry. So you let it run for a while. That's the incubation. And there's certain criteria that I teach that tells you what's good and bad. Obviously, this one's pretty good because it's making new equity highs. And here's another one where, it kind of flattened out, but it's still making new highs after you developed it. That's a good sign. That's telling you probably didn't overfit or over-optimize. I mean, what so many people end up having is something that goes maybe like this. And should you trade it or not? Well, a lot of people never even get to that point. They just, the day they stop developing right here, they start trading it. And then they're on this path a lot of times. And that's not good. So that's something that I teach. That's a huge impact. How big of an impact? Well, I asked students again. And I asked them, how do you feel that incubation, has it saved you money or cost you money? 82, 83% of people, students who've taken my class said this incubation, this patience process, this step in the strategy factory has saved them money. That's huge. How many other things can you do that, you have such a high percentage of saving you money? But that's what this does. So patience, the second secret, is huge. And don't underestimate it. Okay, secret number 3, the word spread. And, there's a lot of different ways to use the word spread, but in this context, I'm saying you spread your risk in different markets. And that's what good traders do. They don't put all their eggs in one basket. And I've seen that time and time again, where I recall one particular person, another one of these gurus that you don't know if they trade or not, where he would trade price action on the ES. And this was about a year or two ago, where the volatility in the ES really went down and there really wasn't opportunity for trades anymore. And you would think, boy, you're just focused on one market, you're not going to do very well. You got all your eggs in that price action, ES price action basket. And that's kind of what happened to him. He kind of faded away because the opportunities were gone. But if you trade a bunch of markets, you can spread your risk. And one market will usually always be hot for trading, even if the other ones aren't. And you'll be in all of them. And that's what people who use my approach do. And students have created strategies for 34 different markets. and I kind of list, I'm not sure if I list all of them there or not. And you see there'll be things like what you say, oh, there's the mini S&P and there's the mini S&P daily, which is a shortened session of it. And you can consider those different instruments to a degree because they trade at different times. But you look there, we've got metals, we've got stock indices, energies, currencies, grains, interest rates. We've got all sectors. And the really cool thing about that and why it's important can be summed up in one word: diversification. And if you don't know a lot about diversification, why it's important, go study the work of Harry Markowitz, who won the Nobel Prize for coming up with this theory. Now, he mainly used it with stocks. He said, hey, you want to be in a bunch of different stocks and you can get a lot of benefit for it. We're just applying it to futures and trade a bunch of different futures markets. And it's pretty cool today, in today's day and age, to be able to do that. So just as an example, I'm trading unleaded gas and I also trade crude oil. And so today crude oil fell a whole bunch early on. And as it turned out, I was flat crude and I was short unleaded gas. And then when it started to recover, my systems gave different signals. So they kind of balance each other out. Diversification is huge. Here's a good example. You take one strategy and yeah, it's pretty good. It goes up and to the right, but you got some drawdowns. But what happens when you add 15 strategies together? You notice, obviously the scale's changed, but it's also a lot smoother. You get a smoother equity curve when you diversify. And that's because sometimes you'll have systems doing good, sometimes you'll have them doing bad, and they tend to balance each other out. So that's pretty cool. And the point with all that is when you trade multiple markets, when you do it correctly, you can lower your overall risk quite a bit. The problem is a lot of people don't do it correctly. That's something I teach, is how to do it correctly, because if you do it wrong, a market shock in any market can really nail you. And so that's what you got to watch out for. And by the way, thanks. I see people typing in questions. I'm going to try to get to those at the end if I don't answer them during the presentation. So, just hang in there, but I will try to get to them, and, feel free to add to your questions. All right. So we've talked about time, patience, spread, and the last secret is process. And that's what the people who do good, the traders who do good that I've seen, they have a process for developing strategies. And in fact, the traders I work with have created over 200, we're over at 200 strategies now that have worked in real time. Not just good back tests, but worked in real time. In a 6-month live test, they've worked good. And it's a proven, repeatable, and teachable development process. It's like knowing a recipe to cook. And once you know a recipe, you can do things like this. You can create a feast. It's the people who just try to throw ingredients together and make a dish, the cooks who do that, how do you think their food tastes? Usually pretty bad, unless they're an expert, right? But most of us aren't expert cooks. Same thing with trading. The people who just throw together strategies and don't really think about what they're doing, they get into trouble. So you need a process to develop strategies. That's what it's all about. So those are the 4 secrets. There's time. You got to spend the time to do it. You got to have patience that it's not going to happen overnight. and that there's going to be setbacks, but you got to stick to it. You got to spread your risk, develop a lot of strategies, and have a set process. Have something that works to develop strategies, and then just repeat it. And when you put it down to 4 words or 4 letters, it sounds pretty easy, but it's not. It's kind of tough, but it can be done. Here's an example. Here's a guy, Francisco. He's in Brazil, and he took my course a few years ago now, and he started out with 0 strategies. Now he has 53 of them, and he was trading differently before, and now he's doing fully automatic in algorithmic trading. So it's taken him a while. There's the time, there's the patience, but he's following the process. And 53 strategies, I guarantee you his risk is spread amongst a whole bunch of different markets. That's pretty cool. All right, so the past 30 minutes, we've talked a lot about a lot of stuff, and you'd probably agree it's been time well spent, right? I mean, you can take those secrets and just implement them, and you can be much better off than you are today. But obviously, everything I teach can't be done in an hour. And it really can't even be done in a day, although I try with my workshop. And that's where I can help you. It's an all-day online workshop. It's called Creating a Strategy Factory. And we start out with trading ideas and go all the way into trading a viable strategy. And you'll notice these are the steps, and you notice I have that incubation, that patience step. And this is what it is. And it looks simple, but there's a lot of detail to it, obviously. But it's the process. And that's what's important when developing a strategy. And if you join my workshop, here's what you get. There's an 8-hour live class. There's 3 strategies I give you for some different markets. Then you get the big thing. One of the big things is you get my personal email support. So you have a question, you email me. I answer. Not some third world person, not some trading intern, not somebody who doesn't even know what the tick size is. And yes, now you get me, somebody who's been trading for 25 years. So you can ask me as many questions as you want in that 4 months. I've had somebody email me well over 800 questions. And they went from not knowing much to being able to develop good strategies. Then I also give you a whole bunch of bonus videos. And I think I actually added to this, and it's not even 23 anymore. I think it's 24, 25. I'm not sure. All sorts of topics, account sizing, Bitcoin, all sorts of different things, rollovers, how to do them, all sorts of things. Probably, realistically, almost a $10,000 value right there. Just in the base stuff I give you, but I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to tell you in a second. But, I had a couple options here. There was a question earlier, hey, if you're a successful trader, why are you doing this? Well, a lot of it, for me, comes down to, I had won the trading contest, and I'd been talking a number of years, these book publishers were saying, hey, wow, you've done great. You need to write about it, and we'll publish it. So I wrote this book, and it came out 4 years ago, but I think I actually wrote it about 5 years ago because it takes a while to publish it and edit it, all that good stuff. And I guess what I didn't realize was that so many people would read the book and then start emailing me and say, wow, can you help me, kind of thing. And that's kind of what happened. So that's why I came up with this workshop, because I was kind of being inundated with people saying, hey, help me out. And as it turned out, I had the time, because when you start get going with this type of algorithmic trading, you don't have to be, you're not stuck to the screen anymore, watching every single tick. You're watching, I'm still here during the day and I'm watching things, but I'm developing new systems, so I have time to teach. So I said, well, hey, if people are willing to pay for my expertise and I have the time to do it, why not? And that's really why I do it. So when I came up with this workshop, I said, well, I can make it really cheap and just help as many people as possible. But I realized that wasn't going to cut it. Um, I just, you see how I give my own time with the email support. I personally devote time to every student to help you. And so to do that, I can't handle all the people that might want help. And trust me, there's a ton of you out there. So it requires a higher investment on your part because of what you're getting. And so that's the option I decided to go for. So I decided to be kind of particular. And, there's quite a few people who ask and say, hey, do you think I'm right for this course? And I tell them no, because I know they'll just be wasting their time and money, and I'll be wasting my time if they can't be helped. So that's kind of why I am doing what I'm doing with this workshop. But I'm adding a lot of bonuses to you. Normally, people pay me about $1,500 to develop a strategy. They'll email me and say, hey, can you develop a strategy for the ES or for crude oil or something? And I normally charge about $1,500 per strategy. So my first bonus is to give you 2 strategies, and there they are. Last year, if you had traded a single contract of each, just a single contract of each the whole year, you would have earned $17,000 in hypothetical single contract profits last year. So they're pretty good systems. Now they both go through drawdown periods, and you can see that from the charts, but they're both solid strategies, and so that's a bonus. That's the first bonus I give you. So now we're well into a value of 5 figures. And if you kind of laugh and say, oh, how could it be worth that much? Trust me, the amount of money I threw at the markets to come up with this process and to develop it was well over this amount. It's hard and it's expensive to learn to trade if you go do it yourself. And you can try that, but man, I don't recommend that on anybody. But of course, you have choices. You could go it alone. You could do that go it alone thing. Or you could find some wannabe trader. You could find that person on LinkedIn who thinks ES is $6.25 a tick. And you'll learn a lot until you actually start trading and start losing money. But that's an option. And most people go that route. But the second option is you align yourself with somebody who's done things the right way. And there was a comment, just looking at some of the questions, and somebody said, it's important to do due diligence. And for those of you who don't know what that means, if you were a company and you wanted to buy another company, you send in your lawyers and your accountants to this other company to go over their books and make sure they're doing things right. You do what's called due diligence, that you feel comfortable with the way they're promoting themselves of, hey, we have this much sales, this much profit, and this. That's what you guys should be doing, and that's that second option. And so, do a Google search of me, for example, and you'll find a whole bunch of my real trading records. You'll also find a lot of information about me. And do that for anybody you're looking to teach you. And usually you'll find a lot of people are scammers. So you got to be careful. But those are the choices that you have out there. You know, if you go it alone or with somebody who doesn't trade, that's going to cost you in the long run. So it's best just to go right from the beginning with somebody who does trade. And so you might say, well, you know, what kind of people does this work for? Well, this is a picture. Last September, these are all Strategy Factory students who took the online class, right? And then a couple of them, actually, the person right in the middle in blue, his name is Rolf from Germany. He came up with the idea. He said, boy, it'd be nice to get a bunch of us together and develop strategies and spend some time. So what I did is I went out and I got a conference room in Cleveland, Ohio, and all these guys came from all over the world to spend a 4-day weekend with me and with each other trading. So we have a couple people from Brazil, we have somebody from Kuwait, I think we had Hong Kong, a couple from Germany, people from all over in the U.S., and they all came to Cleveland. And we had dinner one night at my house, and this was a picture before dinner. So I live on the shores of Lake Erie. That's Lake Erie you can see in the background. But they liked the workshop enough, the online workshop, that they decided to come and spend a whole weekend building strategies. So that's kind of some big proof that this works. I mean, these people had already paid for the workshop, and now we're willing to travel to Cleveland to learn even more. And that's pretty cool. And they're all part of the Strategy Factory Club. And this, after the support I give you, this is what people say is probably the biggest benefit of joining the workshop. And you're automatically enrolled in the club when you join the workshop. And here's what it does. You create a strategy using the process I teach you. And then you submit it. And so you develop the part in white and then let it go for 6 months where I monitor it, and I monitor all the strategies. And if it performs to a certain criteria, you then share your strategy automatically with everybody else who's passed their strategies. So what you get could be a whole bunch of strategies that have passed a 6-month live test. So think about that. You submit one strategy, and 6 months from now, if your strategy does well, you'll get a whole bunch of other strategies that all do well, that have all done well in the previous 6 months, that were all built using the same process. It's really cool. I have people who've passed 5, 6, 7 strategies who now have 50 or 60 strategies. And now you may trade them, or you may look at the code and modify it and make it your own, or take bits and pieces or apply it to a different market. All sorts of things you can do. But the neat thing is you're not starting from scratch where you're just guessing. You're starting from something that you know works, that somebody else has worked on. It's collaboration to the nth degree. And somebody was asking what kind of platform you use to do all this. We use for the club, and I use for my own development, I use Tradestation, which I'll talk about in a minute. But this is great because you can get a whole bunch of strategies for just submitting one of your own that works. And we've been doing that club for about a little over 3 years now. And we have a couple hundred strategies, over 200 strategies that have passed the real-time performance criteria. So that kind of shows you this process does work in real time. And that's That's really cool. And the other part of the club is we have a secret forum, kind of like our own private group, where people ask questions. We have thousands of posts on there of people giving advice, asking for advice, submitting strategies, and sharing. You get a part of that too. It's funny. There's a lot of people who try to sign up who want to be part of that. And I tell them, oh, you got to be part of the workshop to participate. And they get all bummed out because they know there's a lot of good secret stuff in here. And it's really just traders helping other traders, students helping other students, which is really cool. Okay, so that's bonus number 2. And we have over 230 traders in this community, and it's continuously growing as I do more of these classes. So that's pretty cool. So you add it up, it's starting to get overwhelming, right, with the amount of value you're getting, but I'm not stopping there. But you might have some excuses, A lot of people say, I don't have the time. We talked about time earlier. I don't have a good answer for that. If you don't have the time to developing trading strategies, definitely don't sign up for this class. If you were to sign up and then send me an email and saying, hey, I can spend 2 hours a week on this, I'm just going to cancel your tuition and refund your money, because I can't in good conscience let you be part of it if you know you don't have the time. I can't help you with that. Well, the other part is obviously the money. A lot of people are saying, I don't have the money to do this. I don't have the money to pay this course tuition. So I'm going to help you out with that. I have a program with Tradestation. So I mentioned most of us use Tradestation. It's not a perfect trading platform, but it does a lot of stuff really well. You can get the complete course fee rebated back to you via Tradestation commissions. So the way it works, you sign up for the workshop, you open a new Tradestation account, you fund it with a certain amount of money, you start trading, and then every trade that you make, you're going to get 20% of your commission back in the form of a rebate until you get the course paid for. Now, it might take a little while, depending on your trading volume, but eventually you'll get that whole course fee back. So a lot of people have done that. A lot of students have done it. I did it years ago. Tradestation had that program with a trading computer, and I actually got a trading computer free. I just made enough trades and got it back. Pretty nice. It's a pretty nice program. So that's bonus number 3. My only caution is, if you think, well, hey, I'm going to do that, but this course isn't right for me right now. Maybe I'll do it if Kevin's still doing it in 6 months. I don't know when that rebate program's going to end. They could end it at any time. They get some new people running their promotion sales department. They might decide we don't want to do that rebate. So I can't guarantee that. But right now, it's still there. Okay, so now we're in the $16,000 range. Got a couple more bonuses I'm going to give you. But if your trading's going good now, just keep doing it. I'm not trying to convince you. If what you're doing is working, just keep doing it. Don't try to go off and, a lot of people think the grass is always greener, but if you're making money and on a risk-adjusted basis, you're happy with what you're doing, just keep doing it. But if it's not, maybe now's the time to look. Here's a student, Eric from Colorado, and I'll just let you read his quote, but he came to Cleveland, and he almost choked after one of the lunches. He had to go to the emergency room, and luckily he was okay, but he's passed quite a few strategies through the club, gotten a lot in return. And like he says, this shaves years off your learning curve. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I have two more bonuses. Everyone's talking about crypto, Bitcoin this, Ethereum this, Litecoin, blah, blah, blah. So last month, I did a special webinar, live webinar for all current students. I recorded it. You'll get a copy of that, where I talk about some different Bitcoin strategies. Bitcoin's kind of a weird monster because it doesn't have the history that most of the markets have. It doesn't have this history going back 20 years because it wasn't around. But I show people what I'm doing, how we modify our process a little bit, in case you're interested in doing that. So you might be able to pick up some good crypto tips if you're looking to do that. And that's kind of just one of those bonus videos I give you. But there's a ton. This is a good example of the information I give. There's a ton of information. And this is how a lot of former students describe it. Is drinking water out of a fire hose. You just want a little drink, you turn the fire hose on, and you're like, ah! And I realized that. And so what I did, which is something pretty unique, I think, too, the club is one really unique thing I do. But the other thing is, once you attend the workshop the first time, the online workshop, if you want to come back the next time, you can do it. And again and again. I've had people come 3 or 4 times. Sometimes they stay the whole time. Sometimes they stay for an hour or two. People who live in a time zone, overseas time zone. So I've had people from Hong Kong and Singapore who've come in for a couple hours, and then they don't have to stay up all night. And then the next time they come for a couple more hours. You get the recording of the whole day anyways, and you can just pop in if you want and listen to parts of it. And you can do it over and over again. Because my big thing is I want you to use the material and practice with the material. And sometimes that takes a few times, some repetition of seeing things over and over again. So that's kind of what I give you. So you add those two bonuses. Now you've got just a ton of stuff. And people really, they email me afterwards and they're just like, I'm kind of overwhelmed. And I said, well, just take it one step at a time and you'll get to it. And a lot of them, even weeks after that first class, they still haven't gotten through all the bonus videos. A lot of stuff there. Probably realistically, a $20,000 value of just all the stuff I give you. And you might say, well, that's ridiculous, but that's the going rate. You look at all the strategies I give you, I normally get about $1,500 per strategy. And I do consulting for hedge funds and CTAs, and the normal going rate's about $12,000 for a week. So at $5,000, I think this would be a great deal because a lot of people are, hey, why don't you charge that much? And just get the people who can really afford it. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to make it $99 because I think that's ridiculous and I couldn't support it. But it would be a great deal at $5,000. Because if you think about it, just break it down in its little parts. Just the 5 strategies alone would be worth it. That's the old, hey, I give you fish to feed you type model. But then I'm not only giving you strategies, I'm teaching you how to create your own. And that's the big part of it. I teach you to fish. It would be worth it just for that. But then I'm going a step further. And if you use that Tradestation rebate, it'll cost you nothing. And so that's the model where I give you my boat, my fishing gear, my bait, my worms, and let you go off, I'm giving you the whole thing, and it costs you nothing, and then you learn these profitable strategies and you get the strategies I give you. Any one of those things would be worth it, but I'm giving you it all together. And it's a bunch less than $5,000. Yeah, it's an investment. It's almost $3,000. So you got to be serious. And I like that because the people who sign up for this class tend to be dedicated and tend to be really into this. If you're the kind of person that just hops from thing to thing and, tries different things, this course isn't for you. And don't take it. But if you're serious about trading and serious about learning to want to build strategies, yeah, it's a high ticket item, but as you can see, there's been a lot of people who've, over the past 4 years, who've gotten the benefit of this, and I think you could too. So if you're interested, just go to kjtradingsystems.com, and there's a little link where you could click on the strategy workshop. And just to remind you, this is all the things you're going to get. Tons of videos, tons of bonuses, all these strategies, the rebate, attending multiple times. So really, you've got two choices at this point. You can do nothing. You can not take this course, and tomorrow your trading is going to be the same as it is today. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. But option two, you could make an investment in yourself and give this a shot. And who knows where it might lead. I mean, a lot of it, I tell people, hey, success is up to you. I tell everybody that at the end of the workshop. I can only give you the tools. It's up to you to start, digging and start mining, if you want to think of it that way. But you can do it. I had a student, oh yeah, almost forgot. You might decide after that first session, the first couple hours, that this isn't for you. Hey, just email me. Ask for your money back. I'll do it. As long as it's after that first session, no problem. I've had 2 people in 4 years do that because the course just wasn't what they thought it was going to be. And that's okay, but for 99% of the people, it's exactly what they need. And Shamil's a good example. He was a student in the Ukraine. He quickly became one of the best strategy developers. He's developed some really good strategies. And look at that bottom line, the last sentence. He has full confidence in his trading. And that's huge when you think about it. When you think about your trading and how you're not confident a lot of times. Even I go through times where I don't feel as confident, but this helps you get confidence. And so that's really cool. So again, just go to my website. There's a little link. It says Strategy Workshop. You can sign up. My next class is a week from today. So in a couple days, I'm going to be starting to send out information for that class. There's a few seats left, so I encourage you to sign up as soon as possible because it could very well sell out. A lot of these do. This is the first one. I didn't do one in April, so this one's a little bit. There's going to be a few more students, but it could very well sell out. And I suspect after today, with the amount of people on this call, that it actually might, because there's a lot of people who've been searching for a process to trade, to learn how to build trading strategies, and that's what I teach. Okay, so I'll leave that for a second. Now I'm going to do the autograph the book giveaway. So what I need you guys, I'm going to give you guys a second here. Just get your hands on the keyboard, type in the question box. That's where I'm going to look for the answers. And it's going to be the first 2 correct answers to the question I'm going to put up. And it's based on this webinar I just gave. First 2 correct answers. I'll go 3, 2, 1. and go, and then we'll start. So 3, 2, 1, go. Name one of the secrets given today. All right, you can stop. And we've got, wow, we got a lot of people answering. So we got JT. He said TPSP, patience and time. Not sure how he typed it so fast, but he's the first winner. And Joel B, you were the second winner. You had timing and patience, but then we had tons of people. 1, 2, 3, probably 20, probably about 20 or 30 people answer correctly. And of course, the answers were time, patience, spread, and process. Remember those keys. And no matter which way you trade, you don't have to follow what I'm doing, but just keep those things in mind. It's going to make you a better trader no matter which way you trade. So, Joel and Jay, just email me and I'll get your address and I'll autograph the book and send it out to you. So thanks to everybody for answering the question. If you're interested in this book, if you don't know a lot about algo trading, just go to Amazon. And this is a real, like I said, it's a short book. It's an easy read, and it'll teach you a lot about algo trading, and it'll help you out. And you might decide it's for you. You might decide it's not. So with that, I'll leave this final screen and tells you how to sign up. You can also send me emails beforehand. I much prefer people send me emails and ask questions before they sign up so that you feel comfortable. You could also give me a call, leave me a message. I'll start going through questions. If you have questions, feel free to type them in. And this will probably go another 5 or 10 minutes or so. So Peter, who left, asked a quick overview of what algo trading is. I'd tell Peter, I can't give you a good answer in a sentence, although it's just rule-based trading. Just go on Amazon and grab my book and spend an hour or two reading it. You'll know more than you could believe in an hour on algo trading. Jeff was joking and asked if that was Ivanka Trump that I showed earlier. No, that wasn't. That was just somebody on LinkedIn pretending to be a trader. Sam mentions, I guess he has one or both of my books that he says are good books. JT is asking if I watched the show Billions on Showtime. No, I haven't, but it's on my list of things to do. Sam, and that's a show about traders, so I guess it's a pretty interesting show. Sam asks if I asked her if there was a micro ES. I I almost did, but then I thought, no, I'm just sounding like too much of a jerk. If she realizes there isn't, I'm just trying to trick her. There is no micro ES, and so if I asked that, and if I said, why don't you just trade the micro, or are you trading the micro, and she said yes, then she'd look stupid. So my response to her saying it was 625, I said, is it really 625? And then when she responded, yes, it is, and it changed a few years ago, that's when I actually wrote a comment, and I said, I honestly, I doubt it if you trade. And she didn't respond to that specific comment. So Jay is actually, the winner of the book, says he disagrees with more equals better. Probably when we're talking about strategies, but the neat thing about developing a lot of strategies is you can get diversified, and that's the big thing we're doing. Sam's asking, are intraday strategies harder than daily? And my answer, for me, yes. And the reason is there's a lot more noise, I think, in the intraday strategies. And if you want a lot of history, I like to test 5 to 10 years of history. And sometimes some of those intraday things might only last for a year or so. And so it's hard to find something that lasts over a long period of time. Brandon mentions Ray Dalio, who's a famous hedge fund trader. He likes to diversify. So, hey, it's always good to think like billionaires, right? Joel's asking, since you won the competition in 2005, how do you think the market has changed? How do you see it changing with respect to algo trading? I think it's definitely gotten a lot harder. A lot more people are doing this kind of computerized trading. Maybe in the old days you could do more scalping where you're just in and out quickly, and now a lot of these hedge funds take that away from you. You got to keep developing new systems and looking for new things is really, you can't just sit back and relax. I doubt there's people out there who've been trading 20 years who are using the exact same methods they used back then. So that's something to keep in mind. You just got to keep building better. Question, with a discretionary system that is believed to be good but not traded due to fear of past losses, how does one overcome that, in your opinion? Yeah, that's really a psychological question. And a lot of times that's hard to do with a discretionary system because you don't know for sure that, hey, it's worked for the last 5 years and it's done good. So you just don't have confidence in it. And all you remember the last 2 weeks of trading have been awful, and that's what prevents you from making trades. And so that's one benefit of doing an algo type trading. A question, have you considered re-entering the competition? No, I don't do it anymore. I did last time I did it was 2012, and I was doing it with an experimental type system that was trading calendar spreads of futures, and that was the year that the brokerage that was, or the big brokerage that was holding all the funds was PFG, and it went under, and so everybody got wiped out. And so from that point on, I stopped dealing with the brokerage I was dealing with because of that. But that doesn't mean I couldn't do it again. Would I still win? I don't know. Some of it definitely there's some luck involved in winning a trading contest, but there's been times, and certainly I have systems that have done that well that would have won. Okay. Question from Tanya. How to validate a strategy has a trading edge? Yeah, that's something that I teach in the workshop, that we have a process to really validate a trading edge. It's not a simple, hey, you just run this test and then you're done. It's a series of tests, and it's a series of analysis that you got to do to see if you actually have an edge. And even then, yeah, you had the edge in the past. It doesn't mean it's going to work going forward. So many people think, oh, yeah, it's always worked, so therefore it's got to work going forward. And it's not necessarily true. Edges can come and go. So it's something, but if you have the right setup, that's something you can prepare for. Sam's asking a specific question about the club. Do you get one strategy back for each one you submit? And in tuning, what do you do when incubating? So the way it works, let's just say there's 20 people who submit a strategy for the month of June. It's every month. Well, it's 10 months out of the year we do it. So we're doing next one starting June 1st. So say you submit one and 20 other people do too. So there's 21 strategies. I evaluate those for 6 months. If you have to re-optimize the walk forward during that time, you submit it to me. I update it. But I'm in control of the code of all of them. And then at the end of the 6 months, the ones that have a certain performance, so they're profitable, they meet a certain criteria. Let's say there's 10 of those, and yours is one. So Sam's is one of those 10. At the end of that 6 months, you'd get a copy of those 9 other ones that passed. So you basically get 9 new strategies for your one that passed. And if you don't pass, it doesn't mean it's your strategy's trash, you can still share it individually with people. It just doesn't get automatically shared. So the way it's set up are the strategies that pass automatically get shared, and usually it's been averaging about 8 or 9 strategies per month that you'd get back. And then we also have some cool stuff, some ways to get some bonus strategies, to get some extra ones within the club, which is really kind of cool for developing certain types of strategies or for certain markets. So that's kind of neat. Dave's asking what platform people use to execute. Most running client side, so there's a dependency on local machine, or is there a server broker that can do it? Most of us use Tradestation. A lot of us do it from home, your home PC. You can also run it on a private server or a cloud type system, so you can do that. We're not, the way I develop systems, I'm not trying to play against, and I don't advocate playing against the high frequency guys, the people who are in and out like that, microseconds, because there's no way a retail platform is going to work well with that. So what I suggest is you go a little longer term, more swing trading systems, and that's what we do. So the time, if you're off a second or two on entries, if that makes that big of a difference in your strategy, I wouldn't be using any kind of retail platform, to be honest. Okay, got a bunch more questions, so I'll stick around. I love answering questions, but I will cut it off at some point, probably before 1:30, 2:30, I'm sorry, Eastern time. Andrea is saying, is the time interval or bar interval between setup and entry a variable that in some case can be optimized? Does it depend on the kind of strategy? Any clue to understand is worth it to do? I don't really do too much of that as far as optimizing. At least with Tradestations, it's not real easy to like try a setup on 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 20 minute bars and run them all at once. They don't make that easy. I will say I stick a lot to daily bars, and because they tend to be a little less noisy, and they include the settlement price every day, which a lot of people, that's what your equity at the end of the day is marked to. So a lot of people put a lot of faith in that number, that closing price. So that's where I tend to stick most of the time. RL is asking, it sounds like one can start trading 3 systems you have vetted from the get-go. You could, at any point in time. There probably a couple of them are in a drawdown though, because that's what happens. Not every system is making new highs every day, but you definitely could look at those and you might decide you want to trade them. Some people look at them and they determine they don't want to trade them, or they just want to take the code and make their own system. I've had people take the strategies I've given them and apply them to different markets, add different rules, and actually make better strategies than what I created. So you can do whatever you want with them, really. It's kind of neat. How big of a trading account does one need for the strategies? It's a good question, because it really depends on the exact strategies you're going to trade. But this isn't something you can go into with like $1,000, right? Because you can't trade futures unless you have enough money to at least meet the margin requirements. If you have a real super small account and you want to start trading, what I would recommend is probably doing some Forex, where you do the mini or micro lots, where you can do a very small size. That's what I would do. But realistically, it's best to trade to start out with like 3 to 5 systems, and so you're going to need a good size account. The exact number, it really depends on the person and what your risk tolerance is, and that's actually one of the bonus videos I give in the class is account sizing, and I show you different ways to account size depending on your goals and your risk parameters. So thanks for that question. RL's got another question. Do you teach the code needed for this algo trading? Well, I give you the code. You do actually, what I recommend for people is that they know how to program strategies in whatever platform they're using. So if you're using Tradestation, you want to program in easy language. You should do that really before you take the class, ideally. Although there's been some people who've taken the class, then learned to program, then taken the class again, with the free retake option, and that works out real well. So it works out pretty good. Dominic is asking a question. What would I do if the strategy has made only $30,000 profit, but a drawdown as low as $5,000 in 10 years? So I assume it averages about $3,000 a year profit, but it also had a $5,000 drawdown at one point. I guess what I do is I would actually run the trades through a simulator that I give you guys as part of the workshop and see if it passes the criteria that I have. And if it does, then I'd consider trading it. That's probably the simplest answer. And Jay, okay, thanks. I got your email. Let me just copy it in case somebody tries to say they're him. So hopefully nobody would do that, but it is a good book. So, and my autograph will maybe worth something someday. Probably not. Who am I kidding, right? Brandon's asking if I focus more on swing trading than intraday. I'll do both, but I focus more on swing systems. They're just easier to develop. That's been my take on things. Intraday, I do have a handful of them, but most of my strategies are swing. They last a couple days or weeks. You want to get on a trend usually and kind of ride it. Okay, Alfin's asking, any comment on review on Amazon about your book that states, however, be warned that this author is extremely misleading. His performance reviews blog makes it sound like lots of money trading, using us to push his classes. He used to have some strikers, and they've all blown up. Systems on Striker, and they've all blown up. Yeah, I didn't see that comment, but yeah, I did. I had some systems on Striker that didn't do so well. So they did well for a while, and then they didn't. And that kind of happens sometimes. Not every system you have is going to do well. So that's something to keep in mind. Danny's asking, do you find algorithmic trading requires more capital than discretionary? It depends on your systems, but I can see it actually taking less, because what ends up happening is if you diversify properly, you can have something that does crude oil and something that does gold, and they work together well. You don't need like double the capital to trade both of them. You can do each one. So it's just something to keep in mind. Sam is asking, he has strats on Ninja. If he submits a strategy, how does he do it if he's on Ninja, if he's part of this class? And will he be able to benefit from the other passing strategies? No, well, okay, so we do it all in Tradestation. So what we would have to do, Sam, you and I would have to work together to translate it into Tradestation format, and then it would have to pass the performance test in Tradestation. So it's not just because it works in Ninja, it might not work in Tradestation. So that's something we got to overcome. And then if it did, and I've had people do this and their strategy is passed, you'd get the code back in Tradestation format. So you'd have to do the translating yourself. So it's definitely not as easy. And honestly, if I had as many people trading, I would do that. I would have a club in Ninja, but right now there's not enough students with Ninja. Okay, so it looks like, and Alfin said, hey, sorry, I had to ask. But that's a good question, because, and his question was, hey, not everything you've had has succeeded. That's definitely true. But That's kind of the way trading is. Sometimes things work out and sometimes they don't. So again, if you're interested, go to my website, and the next class is next Wednesday. And I appreciate all of you for sticking around so long. And I wish you nothing but success no matter how you trade. All right. And if you have questions, feel free to send me an email. All right. Thanks, everybody.